What made me go inside was because one night I took a really bad beating and my buddy got sent in an ambulance because we went to go use, because when I was homeless, rarely would I go to the washroom outside, right? I knew every 24-hour washroom around. So pushed my car to my buddy who was with me on Denman. There's that, the Dover Arms? It's an uppity lounge, right? So this couple dressed in nines comes running out and hated us just simply because we were Aboriginal and we were homeless, and right away some crack hoe. Now, excuse me, you know what? I've never worked the streets. I don't want to. To start putting us down. Anyhow, the guy ended up just cracking my friend so bad that his body went stiff and he hit the ground. And then they dragged me over to the curb and where they were going to kill me. And they were booting me in my head and trying to crack my head and stuff, right? And I thought, I'm going to die. This is where I'm going to die, right? And all of a sudden it stopped. And I went to get up and for some reason, the cops were doing their job. And there was about 4 cop cars that had pulled up and dragged this couple off of us, right? So the only disturbing part about it was the whole time that these two were being arrested, they couldn't understand it. Because they were doing everybody a favor by getting rid of those 2 bums. They're getting put in the paddy wagon and they're screaming at the cops because they're arresting the wrong people. They couldn't figure it out.
I was just at the final day of the inquiry, and unfortunately our women have their lives to live while so many other organizations unfortunately are speaking for them. I can actually say that they know that Robert Pickton probably did not work alone. And so, while they do their lives and while they have to go out there on the street, they know that there are other predators out there. So it's very scary for them, but what do? You starve, you go sick from whatever drug dependency you have, or you go out there and believe that you're going to be safe.
There's so many prejudiced people out there. They don't want to rent places to Aboriginal people, and that's just most people know that. And if you have children, that's even worse.
A lot of women ended up down here for different reasons. Some women end up with the wrong relationship and they may end up in the sex trade. A lot of women come here to find other family members that have left the reserves and may be introduced to alcohol and or drugs and end up getting trapped here. A lot of Aboriginal women have lost their children and as a result feel hopeless in terms of giving up addiction, because addiction is one form of coping with abuse, trauma, hurt that they faced in their lives.
And this is where you're going to find cheaper places to live. And yes, it puts us, especially Native women, in a really horrible state. When you're poor and you're not eating properly and you're scared and there's all kinds of emotions goes with that, and you're just not thinking straight, and yes, if you don't have your sense just right there, yes, you get vulnerable.
I think, it would, if there was more outreach, like street outreach from not to hand out, needles and crack pipes and stuff. You need street outreach workers to walk around and ask people what kind of help they would like.
I believe every woman that I've spoken to, they've had some pretty horrific lives, and I believe that every woman, would like their own space. I remember when I was living in the Balmoral Hotel, that was my own space. It was a place that I could get away from the street and just go home. And I really believe that everyone needs that, and some of our places, they need to be able to have their own space, but still be checked on. If someone hasn't seen them for 24 hours, if someone hasn't seen them for 12 hours, go in and or knock on the door. And of course the women will get mad. We need to show them that we care enough to bother them every 12 hours.
And I think it would a lot of homelessness would be dissipated if people actually went and talked to these people, not just once, but repeatedly, because people don't trust, right? And if they see somebody more than once, then they're going to start opening up, right? And maybe ask.
It sure would be nice if people were made aware of how wonderful us ladies are. We're so aware of the human being, the being of how people work and should think. And if they knew in our mind how we feel about life, that would be the kind of person that you feel safe to rent or give housing to. That woman is going to take good care of her place to live. Bridge Housing had an opening for another room, and they sent everybody out looking for me. And they said, "Go find Janet. We want to see her." And I thought that was so wonderful. You could tell by my emotions how relieved and so happy that somebody cared about me enough to rent me another place in the same building. And so I got back into Bridge Housing, and yes, it was a real happy time for me, and I've been there again for 5 more years.
When I was homeless, I lived at English Bay Beach, right? Sleep on the beach. Anyhow, I'd find myself there quite often, setting up my little bed and everything, and then realizing, oh yeah, I got a place.